what's written in our notes? The first thing written in our notes is the two terminal branches at the L4, they meet and they form a common iliac. And you have got different branches from this abdominal aorta where the branches are reaching up. So now it's time to understand this abdominal aorta and the branches with respect to the diagram. So let's see what's happening with this, right? So if you look at this beautiful diagram here, right, you know this is heart, and you have got an arch of aorta, and you can see the descending aorta. And you know that the descending aorta moves through this diaphragm where it passes into the abdomen. So let's see the structures which we are gonna involve that. The first thing written in our notes is at the level of L4, if you look at this level of L4, right, this you have got an internal iliac, you got an external iliac, and this internal iliac and the external iliac, they combine and form a common iliac. And both the common iliac, they fuse at L4. So this is what it's written in our notes. The two terminal branches at L4, right, they form a common iliac. And you have got other branches from the ventral branches. In the sense, if this is an aorta of the section here, and you can see the anterior aspect of aorta, and you can see the posterior aspect of aorta. So now let me tell you what are the branches you get from this anterior aspect of abdominal aorta. The first branch written in our notes is you got something known as celiac trunk. At this celiac trunk at level of T12 and this abdominal aorta, it gives a branch known as celiac trunk, and this celiac trunk supplies the foregut. So I'll be telling you what is a foregut also, but right now you just understand the branches which are coming from the anterior aspect. So one of the branches is celiac trunk, and the next branch you have to understand here is you got something known as superior mesenteric artery. And this superior mesenteric artery at the level of L1, because below the T12 you got something known as L1. So at the level of L1 you have got a superior mesenteric artery. And the other branch you have to understand here is there is something known as inferior mesenteric artery. And this inferior mesenteric artery at the level of L3, that gives a branch. Right? And you have understood right now the celiac trunk is supplying the foregut. Right? This superior mesenteric artery is supplying the midgut, and the inferior mesenteric artery is supplying the hindgut. So now it's time to understand the few other branches. The one we are involved right now, the branches at the lateral aspect. So let me read what's written in this. If you look at this, a beautiful structure of the lateral branches here. The lateral branches, you can see the one of the branch here is inferior phrenic, a middle suprarenal, right, renal and the gonadal. If you look at the branches of that, you can see this is what the inferior phrenic artery is. You have a diaphragm at this aspect. So the blood which is getting from this diaphragm, that is taken by this inferior phrenic, and that branch by this abdominal aorta is inferior phrenic, one of the lateral branches. And you have got other lateral branches from the side, that is what the middle suprarenal. What is middle suprarenal? That means supra is above the renal, it is supplying the blood to that renal aspect also. And you have got a renal artery, and this renal artery is also a branch of abdominal aorta from the lateral aspect. And you have got other branches for the gonads. For the testes, you can see the gonadal arteries. So these four arteries, one is inferior phrenic artery, and the next is middle suprarenal, and the third is renal, and the fourth is gonadal arteries. That means four branches from the lateral aspect, three from the anterior aspect, two at the terminal. So the last branch we are going to deal here is the dorsal branches, in the sense the dorsal aspect of the abdominal aorta. Right, you can see the structures here. You got a four pairs of lumbar arteries. You can see the first pair, second pair, third pair, fourth pair. This is the fourth pair of, you got a four pairs of lumbar arteries. And the one you have got, this is what the sacral arteries are. This is what the median sacral artery is. So these are the things you have to understand regarding this abdominal aorta, right? So these are the things that's all written in our notes. In the next session, we'll be dealing about some other topics. Thank you.